Welcome back to Game Day Recap. We tackle this game, which had two teams enter the day 7-2 in the NFC West. Rams take care of the Seahawks, although it was close, came down to a kick. 49ers take care of the Cardinals in the desert as San Francisco, decimated by injuries, got their quarterback back in Brock Purdy. And we'll talk about both of these games and see where these guys feel about the NFC West after Week 11. But the playoff picture looks like this, where we have the 49ers in the hunt, but there could be a scenario in which they get three teams into the postseason. Other contenders include Carolina, Minnesota, and Dallas. Dallas still has to play their game against Vegas Monday night. So down at SoFi, this came close where the Seahawks intercepted Sam Darnold 4 times in this game and then still actually had a chance to lose the game with Jason Myers at the end. Dave, I'm going to give you first word in terms of what we saw today, specifically from Sam Darnold, who easily had his worst game as a Seahawk, let alone last time he was in that building for the Vikings in the postseason, was sacked 9 times.
Pete, should I say it?
Go ahead.
I mean, you are who you are. I mean, he proved
I've heard that before.
hey, I learned quickly from our guy, Pete Prisco, sometimes you just are what you are. And Sam Darnold, let's not get it mistaken. He is a good quarterback, but when he's been at his worst, he struggled with turnovers. That's what's plagued him in his career, when he's not seeing the field well, when he's not hitting the open receivers. And that's a lot of what we saw today. And we saw a lot of very ill-advised throws. We saw throws in a double coverage, triple coverage. His feet were never settled. He always had that deer caught in the headlights look. And it's hard to find a rhythm and get a rhythm going offensively and string together good plays when your quarterback is playing like that. Now, luckily, they have Jackson Smith and Jigba, who went for another 100 yards today. And, Kenneth Walker had a day on the ground, but it gave him a chance to win. But again, it's hard to win in the National Football League as it is, especially when your quarterback throws 4 interceptions.
Yeah, they didn't intercept him. He threw him right to their stomach. It was awful. That was as bad a quarterbacking as you'll see. I mean, it was terrible. And look, the Rams aren't the greatest secondary in the world. They've played better recently, but that was just an awful quarterback performance by Sam Darnold, and we've all sit here and waited for it.
Oh, we ain't been waiting.
You expected it. At some point this year, we sat here.
There we go, speaking.
I know. I was like, we didn't expect it. Maybe you did. Maybe you did.
I sit in the green room with you. You expected it too. I know what you're talking about.
Not telling green room secrets.
Don't try and hide. Don't try and hide.
That's you throwing me under the bus.
Hey, for no reason.
It had nothing to do with that.
That's a game when you look at the stats that the Seahawks should have won on the road. The Rams didn't do anything on offense. Just Matt Stafford threw for 130 yards. You're supposed to win that game. And yet they didn't, because Sam Darnold turned the ball over 4 times. And at the end of the game, the clock management by the Seattle Seahawks was awful. I mean, you had 2 timeouts, and they completed a pass with 47 seconds. The play started with 47 seconds, and they didn't call timeout. And the clock ran down to 22 seconds. The time was more valuable than the timeout, and they allowed it to get underneath that. They almost took a timeout back to Seattle with them, which would have been a disaster, and they ended up trying a long field goal thanks to a pass interference penalty. So the clock management was bad, but more than anything, Sam Darnold was awful. And there's and it would have been amazing for him to win that game playing as poorly as he did.
No, I just want to say Chris Shula clearly has Sam Darnold's number, because he struggled against these guys when he was in Minnesota last year in the playoffs, and we just saw a repeat performance. So if you're out there and you got to play the Seahawks and you got to get in, you may want to go back and study what Chris Shula has done and what he's been able to do. And you talk about, they have a bunch of guys in the secondary, and Aubrey Pleasant, we talked about him, the secondary coach there. He's done a great job with whomever they've given him, and he's got these guys ready to play football, but it's the rush up front. And although they didn't get anyone down on the ground today in terms of registering a sack, they were still effective, and Dame hit it in terms of having Sam Darnold be uncomfortable in the pocket and having to see and feel where that rush was coming from. And those guys in the secondary, they were jumping routes. You saw guys like Durant.
Kobe Durant.
He was jumping routes, sitting on him, just sitting and seeing the ball come out clean, and that was because the rush was effective.
Seattle had its franchise record 10-game winning streak, snapped in this game. Pete, you brought up Matthew Stafford, who, in terms of MVP odds, shortest odds on the board. Now, he only had $130, did have 2 passing touchdowns, hadn't turned the ball over lately here. Where are you at with this Rams team in terms of the NFC's elite?
Well, I mean, they're one of the best teams, if not the best team in the NFC. And he didn't even do much today. He didn't have to. I mean, like we mentioned, the short fields, but he's more than capable. I told you a couple things that worry me about this Rams team. One being the lack of deep speed down the field. And I think that shows up. The big, he's great getting the ball to Nakua. Nakua's a great receiver. Adams didn't do much today. He had some problems today. And so I think the lack of deep speed might show up, but they're physical. Their offensive line isn't great, but like we always say, they're a product of the offense, and Sean McVay is such a great play caller that I think they mask those problems if they do have them on the offensive line. Right now, they're in the contention to be the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, Tommy, and to Pete's point, a lot has been made last week about them using 13 personnel, 1 back, 3 tight ends, and we saw some of that today. We saw some 12 personnel. What Sean McVay has been able to do and what he continues to be able to do is just use the weapons that he has and create matchups for himself, right? And to get you to tip your hand early, and then that allows him to make the adjustment off of it. And he beats you with personnel packages, motions, and shifts. That's what a lot of this offense is generated from, and it's just based off of what do I have. I'll make the adjustment to what I have, because there were times where they threw the ball downfield when they had vertical guys. In the earlier years of Sean McVay, he made sure he always had that X receiver that could stretch the field. And now they have a young guy in Tutu Atwell.
He's hurt,
well, when he's healthy, he can stretch the field, and he may get, 5 to 6 snaps a game. They're finding different ways to beat you now, and a lot of that is based off of their scheme, their personnel, and their motions and shifts.
Yeah, and I would direct that exponentially to the run game, because when I look at Kyron Williams and we talk about the problems that they have at offensive line, they don't have the guys up front to just get a hat on a hat and move people out of the way. But when they get those extra tight ends in the game, the way that they motion and then run outside zone the other way, like that creates mismatches for the defense based on the personnel that they have. And then it allows guys like Kyron Williams, Blake Corum to just churn out yards in the run game. So when you've got a quarterback that's playing as efficiently as Stafford, and then you've got a run game on top of that, along with Nakua, Adams whenever he wants to show up, the defense whenever the pass rush is going, this is a pretty complete team and one of the best in the NFC.
The one thing about the scheming up, and he's great. We saw it at the start of the game. Boom, boom. He schemed it up. I always go back to the Super Bowl when they lost to the New England Patriots. Remember, they were a high-scoring offense, and he schemed up everything. And what happened? Well, his scheme got matched up by a better scheme. And when you have that, you don't have the speed and the great players who can't win one-on-one matchups, then you're going to have problems. So that's where I'm concerned a little bit. He's fantastic at scheming it up. But remember, Belichick played the 6-man front and came up the field, and he kind of took away all that stuff. I think somebody might scheme him up. So eventually, he's got to get the ball. You mentioned that well. When he gets back, he's got to get the ball down the field.
It becomes that old adage. It becomes less about the X's and O's and about the Jimmys and Joes.
Rams' first NFC team to 8 wins. The Eagles could join them by night's end. We'll, of course, keep tabs on the Detroit-Philadelphia game. But San Francisco today went into Arizona and looked really good, Rand. And boy, oh boy, returning your Brock Purdy, your $50 million quarterback, certainly helps make that offense look better with Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, he's just so much more comfortable. He knows he knows the design, the structure of the play, where we want to go, what this concept is going to set up for later. And so if there's nothing there, he knows to take, as Dame says, to take the profit, live to see another down, because we know a quarter from now, this is going to open up something downfield. And you talk about it, immediately out the gate, the opening kickoff goes back 98 yards. That helps you out a lot when your first play from scrimmage is from the 2-yard line, basically, and you get those quick scores, and now you have a team like the Arizona Cardinals chasing points. And then, again, you have Brock Purdy back in, and now this offense is starting to get everyone back healthy. The big key is, will we see a Brandon Ayuk sighting this season? And if we are able to, that's going to really open up this offense, because this will be the first time this year they'll have their top 3 receivers in terms of Ayuk, Pearsall, and Juwan Jennings, along with George Kittle and CMC in the backfield.
I think the biggest difference when you insert Brock Purdy is Brock's already been in this system, and so he already understands how to think in the mind of Kyle Shanahan. Whereas Mac Jones, a guy that you bring in, he's trying to teach him the way, and he's trying to guide him the philosophy and show him this is how we do it. And Mac did it at a very high level. But again, you've got a $50 million quarterback who's played in that system and already knows the mindset of the coach, the mentality, the setting up a play, running this play now, that way we can take a deep shot in the third quarter. Brock Purdy already knows these things, so it gives him a better understanding. It gives him a better opportunity to read the defense pre-snap, know where the ball is going, and he's like a coach on the field. He knows how to play the game within the game that Kyle Shanahan wants to play. That's the biggest difference when you have Brock Purdy between having him and Mac Jones.
Pete, if I ask you at 7-4, we're talking about offensively getting some pieces back. We know on the defensive side they've lost so much, including Fred Warner as well. Even with the optimal lineup roster-wise, can they compete with the other two in the division?
I think the defense is so bad right now. I mean, you know, look, they have so many injuries on that side of the ball and suffered some more today. I mean, and when you look at it, okay, Jacoby Brissett was 47 of 57 for 452. I mean, they couldn't stop McBride. They did whatever they want to, and they didn't get a sack. And what's the calling card of the 49ers during all their heyday has always been the pressure of the quarterback. They didn't get a sack today.
Many times with 4. Yeah,
they didn't get a sack today, and that's the biggest concern for me.
Yeah, that's where it's going to come, down in the end. It's only so much you can do, man. You're losing superstar after superstar. You're losing key quality backup guys that you trust to play in the football game. You're losing them every week. And so the one thing I will say, if their offense is back at full strength and with Kyle Shanahan calling the plays, they do have the ability to score a lot of points. But it's a matter of, can you get that one key stop to give you another chance to have the ability to score one more than your opponent? And at this rate, with the defense that they have to put out there, I mean, every week you look at the starting lineup, when they give you the headshots, you're like, who is that? Because and their pro department is strong at work, because they got to keep training out these guys with the amount of injuries they're getting.
Real quick, Carolina next week at home, at Cleveland, bye, home against Tennessee.
Their next 4 are good. The back end
Indy.
3 are tough.
And then at Indy.
Yes.
So,
okay.
But you have the ability at 7-4
get to 10.
to get to 10.
That gets you to 10. You're in the mix.
Okay. We did talk about a record-setting performance in this game. Jacoby Brissett, by the way, as we're taking a look at San Francisco's schedule, those 47 completions, the most in NFL history in a game, surpassing Drew Bledsoe and Jared Goff. But there's the San Francisco schedule. Easy the first 4. The next 3 to end the season will be a little bit tougher down the road. Hitting a break here on HQ. When we come back, Buffalo and Tampa Bay. 9 lead changes in this game at Orchard Park. It was a wild one. We'll talk about it next.